Well, good morning to everybody, boys, girls, and those in between. Happy New Year. Didn't get a ride on the first day. There's a second today. Up in another part of the country with my family, having a combined Christmas, New Year's sort of celebration. But I hope that this new year brings every single one of you something that you wish for, whether it be materialistic, financial, health, happiness, love. I don't mind. I just hope it brings you something this year. The last couple of years I think have been very stark for a lot of people, so fingers crossed for all of you. Now, I had somebody mention that he wanted to hear a bit about my policey stuff. A lot of it's boring. I'll try and include the odd amusing snippet. Oh, roads are still a little bit flooded here, look. It's only a bit of water, but we had some torrential rain during the night. One thing that comes to mind, St Helier in the Channel Islands, 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 of us in a patrol car, halfway through our shift, heading back for a cup of tea, and a moped pulls out of a side road in front of us. No harm there. Trundling along 28 mile an hour. We're nattering. Now he turns left up Wellington Hill. Now Wellington Hill is a very steep hill, not very wide. As you can imagine, on the Channel Islands there are no such things as wide roads. Wide enough for 2 standard cars. Now halfway up this very steep hill is an S-bend, one to the left, one to the right, which, as you can imagine, steep hill up, sharp bend left, there's a camber. So we're following this moped up the hill. We're discussing anything. We noticed him wobble a couple of times, but you know, 2 o'clock in the morning, only guy on the road, going home. Are we going to ask him if he had a drink? No, not really. He's not harming anybody. Jersey has a far more laid-back view of things. Anyway, he was slowing down for the bend. Halfway round, rolled to a stop, fell over. You have to visualise this, people. He was in a perfect riding position, engine still running at about quarter revs, back wheel spinning. Both hands on the controls, both feet on the footboard, lying in the road, driving. We've stopped, obviously, 4-way flashes on. Not a big incident. We're starting to suspect he might have had a drink, having a giggle. So as we approach him, expecting him to get up or move, no, still laying there. Smoke starting to come out of his exhaust because the oil's all over the place. So I've got level with the front of the bike and I've leant over and turned the ignition off so that the engine doesn't completely kill itself, and he's looked at me with a startled expression and yelled at the top of a voice, "Get out of the way or I'll run you over! Move, quick, shift!" And then some form of consciousness come to him and he realised I was in a police uniform. And he applied his brakes. And he said in pure, perfectly clear English, "Is there a problem here, officer?" Well, might be so. My partner and I, we just wet ourselves. We did breathalyse him. He did go back to the station and do the line intoxilizer. He did blow. I think it was 198. I mean, it was ridiculous. Well, 3 times over the limit. It was just, I don't think it was quite that high, I can't remember, but I know he was clearly 3 times the limit. We put him in the cell for a good sleep. I don't know what day shift would have got him up and processed him, and we'd done our statements and filled in our paperwork and left it at the desk. Oh bless. So, you know, policing is not all bad. It's not all about being nasty and nicking people for silly things. And I grew up in a different culture. My father was an old-fashioned bobby, made chief inspector. I rebelled and did all sorts of things in the world before eventually succumbing to being a bobby. When I did, it was on the Channel Islands, and there's a totally different view of life. Ironically enough, I know this sounds a bit scary, but the police in Jersey actually help people. You know, everybody knows everybody. Why would you want to go and wind people up when you're going to go back home to your neighbour? It's not like a large town where you can disappear. And a centeneer, your home phone number and your address, a centeneer is like an inspector, is published in the phone book, and people can and do knock on your front door for help. So it's a different lifestyle. Not like here where they put on their shades, they get in their Battenberg cars, they harass you and they disappear off into the night in obscurity. That's where England and a lot of other countries have gone wrong. Bring back community police officers that know the people they're talking to, that can make a decision on the ground in front of somebody as to what they should be doing, not writing out a piece of paper, disappearing and leaving the poor person in distress to be dealt with by a process that is so mechanical it is totally heartless. Do I want to be a policeman in England? I'm too old obviously, but would I want to be a policeman in England? No way. I would rather road sweep. Yes, it's a thankless job, but I'm afraid they've got a lot of it. They can blame themselves for the attitude of the public to the police. They haven't been the most diligent, honest of forces in the world. You know, even with modern policing, you can take a look at somebody and think, this will complete my rota quota for the day, or no, this guy's got a problem, let's see if we can sort it out for him. Yes, there are coppers out there who still do that. Yes, there are still good bobbies. Not many though. Since I've been back, I've met a couple, and it is all about numbers, quotas, and pleasing those above you. Whereas where I was, it didn't matter if you didn't make an arrest from one month to the next, as long as you were doing your job. Is doing your job about nicking people all the time? No, it bloody well isn't. I think the police are forgetting that their job, that they're paid by us as taxpayers to be servants, to protect them. And that doesn't mean to banish all speeders to a dark place where they can't afford insurance. You know, I stopped a speeder, unless it was something really ridiculous, I'd give him a lecture. And I think that lecture had far more impact than just issuing a 30 quid fine or 50 quid fine. There you go. You've broken the speed limit, there's your fine, don't care, bye bye. They pay it, they carry on. They'll do another one. You give them a long lecture, they drive down the road and think, I better do 30 here, because I'm not going to have that miserable old sod lecture me for another half hour. I know you'll all have different views. Please note, these are just my observations, purely and simply from my experiences, and they're not representative of everywhere because I haven't been everywhere. They're just representative of my Sweet Bolter's personal experiences. End of. So don't go saying, oh, you know a better bobby, or you are a better bobby, or all that crap. I haven't met you, so I don't know.